Do fountain pens and inks go through color trends like Pantone, etc., or do cool designs just become trendy on their own sometimes? I think for sure, there are color trends. I think about some manufacturers that lean into that a little bit more. LAMY, I feel like, is really on top of that. Kaweco does some interesting things with like their frosted stuff. LAMY does like their special editions, Safaris and All Stars. That's pretty good. I remember like neon was popular a while back. We saw neon as a trend from LAMY with some of their special editions. Faber-Castell's leaned into that a little bit. Lloydstrom, the notebook brand, has done some trendier things. Lloydstrom is doing a neon notebook next year, actually, and there's some interesting stuff that's happened in the past related to fairly timely trends. Matte black and demos are kind of always popular, but it really started to become more popular like 10 years ago. Rose gold as a trend is in the last 5 years or so. So more brands are leaning into rose gold trims and things like that. So for sure, that's gained some popularity. I feel like many pen designs really kind of stand on their own. Maybe some a little timeless or something unique they come up with. I feel like there's others that are, not necessarily tied to fashion trends. There's others maybe kind of stand on their own, whether it's like tinted demonstrators, maybe not necessarily a fashion trend in the greater world, but maybe in the pen world, that could be a fashion trend. So thinking like, pens like, on the Pilot with the Custom 74, having like orange and then purple and then Merlot and burgundy and all that, having some like, clear demo type stuff on the Platinum 3776, some of the TSWBI Ecos and Eco Tees, these colored demos. So, that is a little more on trend, like I guess in the pen world. I don't know if it's a larger trend in general. I'm not a super fashionable person anyway, outside of pen life, right? I feel like there's some like specific materials and maybe designs and things that are popular within the pen world that are very specific to the pen world. Think about like ebonite or celluloid and things like that really just for practicality, whatever practical reasons, just aren't a material that you really see like elsewhere in the world, but in the pen world, it's much more of a thing. So, some of those, I think about, pens like the Visconti Voyager 30, the ebonite that came out that was pretty popular, the Montegrappa Amaralio and the Mia, things like that use a celluloid, are popular kind of for its own reasons. Those things are more trendy just within themselves, right? I think it often has to do with just what looks good within the brand, the given model pen. I think about like ombre was something that became, kind of fashionable years ago. Waterman, came out with the whole ombre line. Pilot Vanishing Point had the Twilight and the Crimson Sunrise with the ombre with kind of the vibrant colors, a little bit different way than Waterman did it. So, it's interesting that there's some things that tend to be, ombre is something that I don't know if it's still on trend, but I remember it was a couple of years ago at least. So you saw some pens with some ombre type of effects that had some popularity to them. Different brands, LAMY, TSWBI, I feel like Visconti, maybe Kaweco, Pilot, Pelican, maybe even Sailor. I think they've done some nice colors that have kind of been on trend with like special editions and limited editions and things like that. So I think that it's not like a universal thing across the whole pen industry, but I do feel like pen companies do pay attention a little bit to that, especially because there is a kind of passion, kind of an excitement component to the pen world, and so whenever there's that, there's a potential for something to be kind of trending. It can always vary, but I feel like this is something that really in the last 5 to 10 years has something that a lot more pen companies have been aware of and leaned into a little bit. That's with my trend expertise. Take that for what it's worth.